Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Jasodhana Nana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasodhana Nana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Ashtottara Sri Srimad His Divine Grace of High Saranadana Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Swami Viti Founder Charges Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Ashtottara Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ittai Gaura Premanandi All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. 10th Canto, Chapter 2, entitled Prayers by the Demigods. I believe we're on text number 33? 33. Tata na te madhava tavaka kvachit prashyanti Margat Tvai Badasauradaha Tvaya Bigupta Vicharanti Nirbhaya Vinayakani Kappa Murdasu Prabhu Tatanate Madhavatavaka Kvachit Tatanate Madhavatavaka Kvachit Prashanti Margatvai Bhadasodadaha Brashyanti margatvai bhadasodada. Tvaya vigupta vicharanti nirbhaya. Tvaya vigupta vicharanti nirbhaya. Vinayakani kapamurdashu prabho. Vinayakani kapamurdashu prabho. Tatanate madhavatavaka kvachit. Brashyanti margatvai bhadasodada. Tvaya vigupta vicharanti nirbhaya. Vinayakani kapamurdasu prabho. Tatanate madhavatavaka kvachit. Brashyanti margatvai bhadasodada. Tvaya vigupta vicharanti nirbhaya. Vinayakani kapamurdasu prabho. Tanate madhavatavaka kvachit. Brashyanti margatvai bhadasodada. Tvaya vigupta vicharanti nirbhaya. Vinayakani kapamurdasu prabho. Ladies. Tanate madhavatavaka kvachit. Tata, like them, the non-devotees. Na, not. Te, they, the devotees. Madhava, O Lord, husband of the goddess of fortune. Tavaka, the followers of the devotional path, the devotees. Kachit, in any circumstances. Brashyanti, fall down. Margat, from the path of devotional service. Tvayi, unto you. Bhadasodada, because of being fully attached to your lotus feet. Tvaya, by you. Abhigupta, always protected from all dangers. Vicharanti, they move. Nirbhaya, without fear. Vinayaka anikapa, the enemies who maintain paraphernalia to oppose the bhakti cult. Murdasu, on their heads. Prabhu, O Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Madhava, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord of the Goddess of Fortune, if devotees completely in love with you sometimes fall from the path of devotion, they do not fall like non-devotees, for you still protect them. Thus they fearlessly traverse the heads of their opponents and continue to progress in devotional service. Please repeat. O Madhava, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord of the Goddess of Fortune, if devotees completely in love with you sometimes fall from the path of devotion, they do not fall like non-devotees, for you still protect them. Thus they fearlessly traverse the heads of their opponents and continue to progress in devotional service. Purport. Generally, devotees generally do not fall down. But if circumstantially they do, the Lord, because of their strong attachment to Him, gives them protection in all circumstances. Thus, even if devotees fall down, they are still strong enough to traverse the heads of their enemies. We have actually seen that our Krishna consciousness movement has many opponents, such as the deprogrammers, who instituted a strong legal case against the devotees. We thought that this case would take a long time to settle, but because the devotees were protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we unexpectedly won the case in one day. Thus, a case that was expected to continue for years was settled in a day because of the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was promised in Bhagavad Gita 9:31, Kunteya pratijanahi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare boldly that my devotee never perishes. In history, there are many instances of devotees like Chitraketu, Indradumna, and Maharaj Bharat, who circumstantially fell down but were still protected. Maharaj Bharat, for example, because of his attachment to a deer, thought of the deer at the time of death, and therefore in his next life he became a deer. Yam yam bhapi smanam bhavam tajanti anti kalevaram. Because of protection by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, the deer remembered his relationship with the Lord and next took birth in a good Brahminical family and performed devotional service. Suchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Vijayate. Similarly, Chitraketu fell down and became a demon, Vitrasura, but he too was protected. Thus, even if one falls down from the path of Bhakti Yoga, one is ultimately saved. If a devotee is strongly situated in devotional service, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has promised to protect him. But even if a devotee circumstantially falls down, he is protected by Madhava. The word Madhava is significant. Ma, Mother Lakshmi, the mother of all opulences, is always with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if a devotee is in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the opulences of the Lord are ready to help him. Yatra Jogeshvara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanudara, Tatra Shir Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Bhagavad Gita 1878. Wherever there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna and his devotee Arjuna, Partha, there is victory, opulence, extraordinary power, and morality. The opulences of a devotee are not a result of karma kanda vichara. A devotee is always protected by all the Supreme Lord's opulences, of which no one can deprive him. Tesham nityabhuktanam yogakshema pahamiham. Thus, a devotee cannot be defeated by any opponents. A devotee therefore should not deviate knowingly from the path of devotion. The adherent devotee is assured of all protection from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Tam Gurudi Vachalam Pangam Lankaya Tegirim Yatkipatam Aham Bande Sri Gurum Dhirataranam Paramanadamadavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So, yesterday we heard very nicely from Srila Prabhupada how one who takes up the path of devotional service is far superior than the karmis, jnanis, or yogis even. The Chaitanya Charitamrita describes Akama Sarva Kamo Va Moksha Kamo Dari. No, not that verse. No. What is that? No, I was thinking Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakalaya Shanta. Thank you very much. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ateva Shanta. The devotees are much further advanced in all respects than the karmis, jnanis, and yogis. Because they're keeping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in their hearts in a devotional mood. Whereas the karmis, we all know karmis, they're so full of anxiety. The jnanis are always trying to figure it out. And the yogis, they're just searching from higher planets to lower planets, sometimes looking within. But because there's still some tinge of material consciousness, the effects of material life, ashanta, they're constantly disturbed. So, as Srila Prabhupada was pointing out in the previous verse, the devotees are far above these karmis, jnanis, and yogis. Although they may appear, in general, we're fascinated, sometimes very impressed by how successful they may be, so-called successful, in whether it's their karmic activities or whether it's their intelligence or whether it's even their renunciation and their detachment from the material world. Still, there's a gulf of difference between those who are engaged in devotional life and those who are who are in those circles. And again, we may become very impressed, and sometimes even in devotional life we become so enamored that we think maybe I should go in that direction as well and give up the process of devotional service. Maybe I should become a successful movie star, or I should do this or do that. But in reality, these are not successes. They're simply failures, as we were discussing the other day. How they may, in the material sense, be very valuable, but they're all simply zeros. And we don't say this in an arrogant way, but they're zeros. Without that Krishna, that number one in the front, it's just all a collection of zeros. And we can see it practically, that in due course, as the verse explained yesterday, these persons of imagined superiority, they eventually fall back down into materialistic activities. And all their work has been for nothing. All their work has been for nothing. I've worked so many years to develop an empire, or I've devoted so many years and so much energy in developing my education. I have so many degrees and I have so many titles. I have so many certificates. I received so many different awards. My name is on so many certificates and etc., papers and this and that. Or I may be so adept in my meditation. But eventually, without a doubt, and the examples are there, without a doubt, such persons, they eventually fall down, Abhishuddha Buddha, because their intelligence has been polluted. It's not been purified. It hasn't been purified by the process of devotional life. And this is what Srila Prabhupada is pointing out in today's verse. That the devotees are on a whole different level. And even if they circumstantially may fall down, because even as devotees we have weaknesses, no doubt. And the mind is sometimes very difficult to control. And one may say something or do something because of certain circumstances, because of certain weaknesses, and is put into even a hellish condition. Still, that person is vastly superior to these karmis, jnanis, and yogis. The Bhagavatam describes, Chaktva Dharma Charanam Bhujam Harer, that the devotee who gives up his material occupation, and just all of us, we've given up our material occupation, in essence, coming to a devotional life, whether it was being a student or an employee somewhere, or just coming out of the home, giving up certain aspirations. In essence, it's giving up one's material occupation to take up the process of devotional life. And such a devotee, even though may be immature, and what immaturity means, that one is not has not developed one's devotional practices enough, and that doesn't mean whether it's 1 month, 6 months, or 45 years. There's still a maturation that has to take place in devotional life. So even considering all of that, one may fall down because of certain circumstances again. Still, that devotee is better situated than the materialist, who may be very expert in his material occupation. Again, they may be very expert, and we're very impressed how they're able to manage and create and manipulate and so many other things. And to the eye, it appears all successful. But in actuality, it's not. Because in a flash it can be taken, and one has to again come back into material life. Whereas here Srila Prabhupada is pointing out that because of the devotee's strong attachment to the personality of Godhead, Krishna gives him protection in all circumstances. Api chedudara charo. It's again because the devotee is engaged in devotional service and is properly situated in one's determination. The Lord takes that into account and gives them protection in all circumstances, as Srila Prabhupada points out here. Thus, even if a devotee falls down, they are still strong enough to traverse the heads of their enemies. And as Srila Prabhupada points out here, one example is in the 70s there was a very strong movement to many of the spiritual movements or counterculture movements. And these persons, the deprogrammers, were very active. And in this, Srila Prabhupada cites this case in, I believe it was in New York. And it looked like it would be a very difficult challenge, because again, they were very active in their activities and in their propaganda, labeling Krishna consciousness as some cult and some mindless creatures. But the judge had enough intelligence, inspiration, Krishna within the heart, that he read Srila Prabhupada's books. And just from reading Srila Prabhupada's books, his decision was so quick that in one day he declared, "Oh, this is nonsense. This is a bona fide religious tradition." And it was thrown out. And as Srila Prabhupada points out here, this was expected to continue for several years, but because of the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Krishna says, that my devotee never perishes, somehow or other it was resolved in a very short time. Just see how Krishna protects his devotees. During that same time period, we were in Minneapolis, and there was a small preaching center there. And about midnight, we got a phone call from a devotee. His name was Edani Asvabhava. I remember his name. He's a very nice devotee. He had just escaped this house that was being operated by, what was his name? Ted Patrick. And, is that right, Ted Patrick? Ted Patrick. I remember the Patrick, I don't remember Ted, but they had kept this devotee there for some 2 weeks. They were trying to deprogram him, I guess you could say, or indoctrinate him into material life again. And the watchman had fallen asleep, and he snuck out the window. And I don't know how, still to this day, how he got our phone number, but some or other, by Krishna's grace, he got our phone number, and he called about midnight. And I remember we sent, I don't know if it was Mahamantra or Indra at the time, to go and pick him up. And he was in a phone booth on a corner someplace. And some or other was able to come and again have the shelter of Sri Sri Gaur Nitai. And again, Krishna protects his devotees. Who could have predicted something like that? Again, and Srila Prabhupada gives the example here of Chitraketu, who, because of a misunderstanding, he was cursed by Parvati, and gladly accepted it, and even she was quite fascinated that how is this that this devotee, this person is gladly taking this curse. And Lord Shiva had to remind her, what is that verse that he tells Parvati? Svarga Pavarga Narakeshu Abhitulyartha Darshana, what is? Narayana Parak Sarve Nakutaschana Vivyati. The devotees of the Lord, because they're Narayana Parayana, they're totally dependent on the personality of Godhead. They don't have any fear, as Srila Prabhupada mentions here at the end of this purport. The adherent devotee is assured of all protection from the personality of Godhead. So she was quite amazed that he wasn't perturbed by this curse. Instead, gladly accepted it. So, again, this is the position of the devotee, that that they're prepared to take whatever condition may fall upon them, befall them, and simply engage in the process of devotional service. And then Srila Prabhupada gives the example here again of Maharaj Bharat, who, because of his attachment to a deer, fell under this illusion and had to take birth as a deer. But fortunately, again, by Krishna's grace, again, Krishna is there within the heart of all living beings, and he's the supreme friend and benefactor. Krishna in the heart allowed him, even in that deity form, to remember his past life, so that in his next birth, again, he could take birth as Jad Bharat and engage in devotional service. Srila Prabhupada explains here, Yam Yam Bhapi Smaram Bhavam, because he was meditating on this deer at the end of life, he had to take on that form, which is very good instruction for us, that we should always try to fix our minds in the proper way, because who knows when something may befall us. So many people are dying here, dying there at any moment. It's there. The reality is there. But again, because of the protection of the personality of Godhead, the deer remembered his relationship with the Lord and was able to make its life better. Again, it was Suchi Nam Shimatamge. It was allowed to take birth in a better form and make its life perfect. So, again, that is a very special circumstance. But, and for that matter, for one to be a devotee is a very special circumstance. Muktanam api siddhanam. Narayana Parayana. To be situated in devotional life is a very rare opportunity, and it's not something that Kotishvapi Mahamune. It's very rare for one to take up the process of devotional service. So there's no comparison between one who's engaged in devotional life and the karmis, jnanis, and yogis again. There's no comparison. Not only is Krishna protecting, but also here Srila Prabhupada points out the goddess of fortune, Ma, is also protecting. Wherever Krishna is there, his associates and his servants are there. His opulences are also there. And Prabhupada quotes this very nice verse from the 18th chapter Bhagavad Gita, that wherever the personality of Godhead, Krishna, and his devotee Arjuna, Partha, there is victory, opulence, extraordinary power, and morality. All of the opulences of the personality of Godhead are there. Intelligence, beauty, these things are absent in reality in the material world. In reality, they're absent. No one really has any wealth. Again, it may be in the books. It looks like they have something. Or superficially, it may look like they have so many different qualifications. But actually, real opulence means to be engaged in have a connection with the personality of Godhead. And the proof is that when it's necessary, the Lord provides whatever a devotee needs, whether it be, again, intelligence to do the right thing, or whether it's the opulence to create a nice facility for Krishna's service, or the intelligence to preach to the conditioned souls. It's a great opulence. And as Prabhupada points out here, these opulences of a devotee are not the result of karma kanda vichara. It's not by some material activity, some material circumstance that these things are there. This is not some material circumstance. Oh, well, we've done some expert management, now we have such and such facility. No, it doesn't work like that. Because of Krishna's grace, one has intelligence, opulence, beauty, strength, renunciation. These are all gifts coming from the personality of Godhead. And a devotee is always protected by the Supreme Lord's opulences, of which no one can deprive him, right? Tesham nitya yuktanam yogakshema bahamiham. Krishna provides these when it's necessary, when it's needed. So even though sometimes even one may criticize a devotee, or they may find fault that, well, the devotees are doing like this, it's not correct, or it's immoral, or it may not, mundane morality, of course, it may not look correct in the political eye. The reality is that because they're engaged in devotional service, there's a whole world of difference. There's a whole world of difference. Because what the devotee achieves is liberation from material life. Again, one doesn't have to come back into this miserable world and struggle like anything. There's all success there. Even one, again, may circumstantially fall down, stumble in the process of devotional life. Because there's some determination there to be engaged in devotional service, the Lord takes that into account. A devotee, therefore, of course, knowing that, we don't knowingly or as an excuse engage in nonsense. There's no excuse for that. Certainly one has to be repentant and determined again to take up the process of devotional life. As Srila Prabhupada points out here, the adherent devotee is assured of all protection from the personality of Godhead. What is that? Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam. Simply one has to chant nicely and offer obeisances to the personality of Godhead, and there's no doubt that success will be there. Well, and are there any questions or comments? Yes, Mataji.
Thank you, Naikatma, for the class. One thing that spoke to me very strongly was how dear the devotee is to Krishna in this verse, and how that he never forgets him, even though the devotee has fallen down. So I was thinking about how I've heard that in this centennial year, that there's going to be some outreach programs to the devotees who have gone away. There's so many devotees who joined when Srila Prabhupada was here, and that Krishna has never forgotten them. And if we could even just have him on a mailing list with continually getting invitations to the different programs, maybe that would be something that would be helpful.
That would be very nice. That would be very nice. Krishna never forgets his devotees.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the class. I thought it was very interesting in the purport that Srila Prabhupada, he explained about how it's very important that how he said that anyone who feels that they're superior has a risk of falling down. And I think it's very important that all of us as devotees, we always remember that it's not we as devotees who are so superior to everyone else, but it's actually the process of devotional service. And by keeping Krishna within the core of our heart, we become like lights who can help other people. And not that we're better than others, because sometimes sounds a little bit like that if someone's like an outsider person hearing that and they're a little bit maybe critical mind, they would hear it, they could hear it in that way. And I think it's a very important point.
Yeah, exactly. We have to be very, very conscious that we're not, we are certainly not a holier than thou. But we're simply Krishna's instrument, and if we're a good instrument, then all opulences are there, all intelligence is there, and wonderful things can be accomplished. Srila Prabhupada is the best example of that. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.